The first ever orbit test flight of SpaceX's Starship deep space transportation system is not too far off. To make life possible on other planets, this spaceship would be a significant step. The rocket's enormous payload capacity and reusability features have the potential to significantly alter the economics of spaceflight. The mission will undoubtedly usher in a new age of space travel, but SpaceX first needs to finish all the experiments necessary for a true orbital journey. The majority of SpaceX fans anticipate that this will be the rocket's first attempt at launch later this year. So what's happening with the Starship's ongoing static firing testing then? Welcome back to our channel, guys. In today's video, we'll discuss how the first historic static fire SpaceX lifted over 200 tons out of the ground. Before that, do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. SpaceX is about to do a task that has never been done before. With so many recent advancements, the business has managed to change the space sector. The Starship rocket, the largest and most potent rocket ever created, is their most valued property. And right now, the business is preparing to fly its first ever orbital test mission. This will alter the record for the heaviest and most powerful rocket ever launched, but the business must first complete a few tasks before that happens. At its testing site in Boca Chica, Texas, Space Exploration Technologies Corporation, also known as SpaceX, recently hoisted the ultra-heavy booster prototype of their Starship next-generation rocket. This is a part of their effort to launch the Mars rocket into orbit, which, by the way, is set to take place soon. However, this rocket is operating in a different manner from the company's well-known Falcon 9 rockets, which are constructed before being launched from the launch pad. Here's how the Mars rocket is different. The two parts of the spaceship will be raised by SpaceX directly on the launch pad. To do this, they have to put up a large crane structure that will undertake the task. In order to refresh the rockets and make a few minor repairs before the subsequent flight, SpaceX will land them on the launch pad that is meant for the Starship and then raise the spacecraft onto the booster. Recently, the Super Heavy was brought to the pad, and the first prototype is almost put together. Let's now take a look at the static fire test that SpaceX is conducting. Satellites and humans have frequently been sent into orbit and International Space Station using SpaceX's most well-known rocket, the Falcon 9. 9 Merlin engines are responsible to power the rocket, which can launch payloads as heavy as 23 tons into low Earth orbit. However, with the Starship rocket, SpaceX intends to increase this power fivefold. So things will change. For this, the Starship rocket will utilize more and bigger engines as well as other materials. Let's examine the output of the power that these two rockets will produce. The Merlin 1D Plus engine on the Falcon 9 has adequate power to produce 221,000 pounds of thrust. However, the Starship's Raptor 2 engines, which are already in place, can generate around 510,000 pounds of thrust. This is more than 2 times as much force as the Merlin engines create. In contrast to the Falcon 9, the Starship will have more engines to support its increased power, which uses 9 engines. 3 30 Raptor 2 engines will be used in the Starship's Super Heavy booster. The rocket will be able to carry up to 100 tons to low Earth orbit with the kind of power it has. This exceeds 5 times the maximum thrust of the current SpaceX rocket that the Falcon 9 can launch. However, the Falcon alone can't lift this much weight. With the aid of 27 Merlin engines, the Falcon Heavy can launch around 64 tons into low Earth orbit. Now that the corporation has been granted the go-ahead following the conclusion of environmental evaluation by the FAA, it is obvious that the Raptor 2 engines to be utilized aboard Starship are some of the most effective and powerful engines ever to be created. SpaceX is now testing the biggest rockets ever at maximum speed. This implies that the Raptor 2 engines must be tested before they can launch the enormous rocket. The Raptor 2 engines are more potent, as we've seen before. However, what's the secret of these powerful engines? The propellants that originally pushed the fuel into their combustion chamber are intended to be reused by these devices. With these engines, SpaceX has altered how they ignite the oxidizer and fuel of the engine. We will be able to compare these engines to the Merlin engines seen in the Falcon 9. The main method of operation for Merlin rockets is the chemical injection of fuel and oxidizer. However, the entire process has been altered for the Raptor engines. They will employ spark-based ignition, which operates on the same principles as spark plugs found in conventional cars. The fuel-oxidizer combination will receive its initial spark from these igniters, and after the reaction gets going, it will continue until SpaceX decides to turn the system off. The Raptor engines will really employ 2 redundant torch igniters. Elon Musk, the creator and CEO of SpaceX, addressed this in 2019. But what precisely is this? To put it simply, picture a conventional spark plug that is used in both vehicles and rocket motors, but one that is further advanced before the primary combustion in the main combustion chamber continues. These torch igniters, which fire the fuel and oxidizer in the rocket engines, seem to be the ideal match for the operational profile of a Starship. Since they can start many engines simultaneously, they are even more effective for engines operating at high altitudes. The spark plug will automatically turn off after the fuel oxidizer mixture has been ignited by the spark as the torch of the flame continues to flow. This will spare the engine the labor of repeatedly lighting the plug to maintain combustion and ensure that the mixture inside the primary chamber does not re-enter the ignition assembly and cause uncontrolled disassembly. Copper is the preferred material for these igniters primarily as a result of its greater heat conductivity. The newest Super Heavy rocket was transported by SpaceX to the launch site in Boca Chica, Texas. A week ago, as soon as the booster arrived, the enormous crane on the launch pad hoisted it. Elon Musk claims that the booster has a diameter of 30 feet and is around 270 feet tall. With these measurements, the enormous booster should weigh roughly 200 tons. Earlier, Elon Musk's space enterprise carried out its aim to launch a spacecraft into orbit as a test launch. This happened after the facility's environmental study was finished by the Federal Aviation Agency. In addition, SpaceX is testing its rocket engines on the ground and in low-altitude flights as part of its static fire testing program. To send the vehicles into space, further FAA permission is still required. Now that we're talking about static fires, it appears like SpaceX is working more quickly than before. Nevertheless, coming from them, this is nothing new. The region surrounding SpaceX facilities will be labeled a danger area from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. from June 27 to June 30, according to a supposedly official maritime safety notice from the US Coast Guard. Additionally, the local government declared that the Boca Chica roadway and beach will be closed to traffic on June 27 and June 28. The declaration of a danger area would coincide with these road closures. We can all agree that a static fire test is essential considering the size of the spaceship rocket. After all, this rocket is unlike any other. SpaceX can get more at ease with all the intricate processes by using the test space. These mostly consist of the steps involved in rocket fueling. But more crucially, as a result of these tests, the business may examine and confirm that all necessary systems on the booster are fully functional. A similar test was once conducted, and as a result, the business discovered that the identical booster had a gasoline pipe that had deformed. After this discovery, SpaceX repaired it right away, and everything was working again. As of right now, we can claim that SpaceX is almost completely ready for the Starship's orbital test flight, the best rocket ever built, and once they receive the FAA's approval, they will undoubtedly launch it right away. What do you think about the most recent Raptor engine test? Let us know in the comment section below, and while you do that, do not forget to give us a like, share, and do subscribe to our channel for more updates. Thanks for watching.